Hey everybody, welcome back to Thirsty Therapy. We missed you. John, I missed you. I'm happy to see your face again.
It's good to see you. Did you change something on your end?
A little bit. I've been trying to update how the set looks, how inviting it is and eye-catching, and one thing I always miss looking at when I'm sitting at a bar, and I love watching your bottles behind you, and I realized I was totally missing that here with this setup. So what do you think? A little better?
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. Before, dare I say, it was a little bit plain, and this is refreshing.
Thanks.
It's a little bit more bar-like. You're right.
Yeah, we had a blank slate. We were trying to grow in it. Remember we talked about different shelves and stuff like that, but we also were trying to utilize space in our houses in such different ways now and not having the big expansive bar areas. Yeah, this seems to work a little bit better, I feel like. It's starting to get a little more cozy and warm and a little bit more like everybody feels like when they get a chance to walk into a real bar. Tarts, hi! Go with the flow. Nice to see you again. I'm so glad it looks great online. Thank you. Lucif, hey. Welcome back, y'all. I hope you are having a great new year so far. John and I, we know we got some things to celebrate, right? Or
Oh yeah,
lament, whatever camp you're in, I suppose.
Yes, tonight let's see, we have a new president sworn in. Inauguration has passed since we last streamed. Is this a night that we drink to remember, or do we drink to forget?
Either way, we'll take care of you. Whatever side you're on, we'll get you a drink. First
Therapy
couple will
for
bring
all.
you up. Yeah, exactly. We're equal opportunity therapists. Or therapy.
Shoot, did I just steal the tagline from what's that one that's advertising with Michael Phelps? Talkspace.
Oh, I don't know that one, actually. I
think
was
their
thinking of a credit
hashtag
card
is-
company off instantly.
I was thinking therapy for all.
Wait, is that a thing? Is that a that's a place where you can get therapy online kind of thing?
Yeah. And I'm wondering if I should stop saying the phrase. Are we gonna, get shut down by the
Oh my God, we can't get sued for that, right?
uh,
Don't do that. It was an
who
accident if
enforces
we
that?
did. Sorry, y'all.
FBI?
Yeah.
We'll edit that out in post.
Right?
Because
It's
this
a little
isn't
harder on those
live.
live streams. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn it.
All right. What do we got tonight, Billy? Something to drink?
Well, we're doing some spicy stuff. I'd say mildly spicy. Our drinks tonight are going to center around a syrup that I came up with years ago that I love coming back to, especially in the wintertime. And it is a Scotch bonnet syrup that utilizes brown sugar, white sugar, orange peels, and Scotch bonnet peppers. And they steep with each other. You put it all in hot boiling water and let it steep for a few days. And of course, we always do it to taste. We want a good amount of heat, not an overwhelming amount of heat, but we want a good amount to wrap around. And my favorite thing about habaneros and those types of peppers, bird chilies as well, is you get heat on the back sides of your tongue, and it's a little less, where it can be more intensely spicy on the Scoville scale. To me, it's still allows more flavor to come in. Does that make sense?
This is great. I hope to find out what you're talking about soon, because when I think of spicy cocktails, all I can think of is, I don't know, a habanero infused margarita, or I don't know, these drinks that we got. We're talking coffee, we're talking gin.
Right.
Your chemistry, alchemy, nuance. I'm really intrigued to experience this.
Thanks. I'm excited to bring it to you, and I think it's important to be able to have different levels of heat and citrus because they complement each other so well. But in different and not necessarily bright, sour, or tangy. I'd say more sour or tangy. Everything that we're doing tonight ends up having something to brighten it up within it. But especially the last one when we switch to the gin, that one tends to be bright, but it's bright for a few different reasons. But we'll get into that when it's time for that one. It's got a lot of goodies.
One clarification from me: we're using Scotch whiskey in our drinks tonight.
Yep.
Not related to Scotch bonnet syrup.
Not related,
different kind of Scotch.
But not completely unrelated.
Like it's not a bonnet soaked in Scotch.
Right. No, it's a Scotch bonnet pepper, the cousin of the habanero. But yes, you are right.
Today I learned.
My favorite part of it, though, is that it's a little inspired. I am quite a bit Scotch, 79% Scotch, and I started making this because I really like the way the peppers. It was a different kind of heat that wasn't like jalapenos. It kind of turned me off to that sour bitter bite that I now enjoy. But I needed of all things, I needed Scotch bonnets and habaneros to be my gateway drug into spicy things. I guess I had to leap and bound over a couple things to get back to get back. Um, but without it being overpowering, it opened me up to a lot of those spices. So being that it was like Scotch inspired, and they're named they're Jamaican pepper, I think, right? Scotch bonnets or tropical pepper, but they're named after resembling the bonnets of the Scottish force, the Scottish fighters that were in the Queen's Army.
Oh,
Uh,
I didn't know the history or that it's Jamaican. That's crazy.
I know that they grow them in Jamaica. I don't know that they are technically. That's a stretch. I think Bree's going to
But
check
that's the
on that.
climate they grow in. They
Mhm.
don't grow in Scotland.
No, but like places like Texas,
Mm.
southern, warmer but still wet places are the places that they grow. Yeah, and they were all about the hats, resembling the hats, the berets that the Scottish. Uh, oh, they are of Jamaican origin. Holy moly! Slide in for the BS win on that one. So close.
If only we were playing trivia on this channel.
Right, right.
Your
That'd
team
be
would be in
fun.
the lead.
I thought about actually. I haven't mentioned this to you, but it's perfect timing. I thought about doing that for some of the online classes, some of the team building classes that I'm doing with people, uh, and whether or not it'd be like fun to break up the class of making a drink with a couple of like engaging, questions that you could win a prize. I could already have delivered the prize to the person who started the classes. Anyway, just a thought. But I like it. It's kind of fun to like have us start growing and integrating in what we can do and what we can offer, um, to keep everybody having fun and wanting to come back and hang out with us. Uh, yeah, right. That's what we're here for.
Totally.
We're trying to bring everybody together.
Totally.
Bree, thanks for putting that up
Yes.
on the screen. All right, so we got hot stuff, and you got a new gooseneck kettle. I can see it.
Yeah.
It
Well, I
looks
don't know if
so
you can
good.
see it. Yeah. Yes. One. Finally, one for my own.
Thank
One of
you.
my own.
Now, did I see it's got like a dial on the bottom to change the set? Is it a change the heat one, like the other one that you were
Hmm.
using, or is it just a one, like mine? The one button turns it on and that's it.
It it's a dial. So it's currently at 93 degrees, which according to its manual is perfect for coffee. I'm
Awesome.
going to be brewing some uh, French press coffee with it.
Perfect. Well, we're gonna start with that. So,
Better get that brewing, huh?
before, yeah, get that brewing. But before you do, let's start. Let's go ahead and throw our hot water into our glasses to let them temper, and warm up. Because I'm doing a different technique than you're doing, just slightly different. And so we'll talk to everybody about that. But I definitely want to make sure that my glass is nice and hot. Um,
Ah,
and
that's
then
right. Okay, so we're using the coffee mugs that we've used for hot drinks in the past, like Spanish coffee, or sorry, Moroccan coffee.
for Spanish, yeah, like we did for the Moroccan coffee, yeah, our Spanish coffee's done the same way. We're just warming up the glass now. We're getting it ready. If anybody remembers how we shattered that glass,
Don't want that.
like a month ago, which was spectacularly beautiful. If I would have remembered to temper the glass beforehand, we would have had a much better shot of that not happening. And then for me, John's making, after he gets his set up, he's going to start making the his French press coffee. But what I'm using, and some of you out there might be using this too, is I did a super concentrate pour over that I immediately threw into the refrigerator. I jarred it, actually put it in a huge 2-quart mason jar, laid it flat, and then slid it right into the fridge so it would cool faster. Um, you have the equalizing pressure problem because anybody out there that knows leaving it sealed is going to make it actually a little bit harder. Um, but sometimes I'll actually leave the lid loose and tip it up to allow the steam to release and then tip it over. Just the idea is that the more rapidly it cools, the less chance of acid building up inside that coffee is going to be, and it's not going to be as bitter for us to reuse. So it's kind of like the idea of I developed this technique using espresso years ago, and if I could rapidly chill little amounts of espresso, the flavors still came through. Even if you added like Americano style, reheated it with some hot water, or if we were throwing it into cocktails. And in fact, one of the cocktails we're doing tonight is based on that exact technique. Barista was the coffee house. It was right across the street from Bamboo Sushi when I worked there. And the baristas in there would hook me up with some delicious guava coffee and espresso, and I'd hurry up and go down and chill it right away, and I'd always make sure that I made them at least one cocktail for them helping with the development. And they actually just gave it to us for free because they thought it was so cool that we were using it in one of our drinks. That's right. It is, we're going full on tonight. No decaf for us. John, are you going full on or are you going decaf?
Oh, I'm going decaf.
That's right. I thought so, and that's okay. Like, hey, you are worthy of good drinks. There's no stigmatizing yourself for it just because you wanted to be decaf. Be proud of that one.
Okay. It is a good decaf. It's my favorite heart coffee. But yeah, if I drink caffeine mid-afternoon or later, I'm gonna have a bad time.
You and Targ Tarts. Targ Tarts was just saying the same thing. Anything afternoon.
Oh,
literally
noon.
Verbatim. Go figure. Did you say 2?
Yeah. I would say 3 is my absolute cutoff, but honestly, it's a bad idea afternoon.
And then here, so go figure. I'll not have caffeine. I'll be up till like 4:30, and then I'll have 2 cups of coffee's worth, and suddenly I'm ready to go to sleep 45 minutes later. I'm a freaking weirdo though. Like, I've always been like that. No rhyme or reason. I just hope it works when I need it to work. I think that's why I always liked Adderall. That was the one thing that always worked, no matter what, when you wanted it to work.
Alex, thank you for the forgiveness about Seattle. Good to see you again.
Welcome back, Alex.
And Loriander.
Nice to see you as well. Oh man, that is a party. All right, Margarita Nose is ready. Targ Tarts is ready. Let's start. Sounds like your coffee's ready.
Can we see those? Yeah, I got it's brewing. It'll be ready shortly. Can we see those ingredients?
Yeah, let's pop up the
Everybody can follow along
for the first one. So, as I said, some of you might have this cold concentrate that I have right now. Go ahead and pull it out. It should be at room temperature. That's going to be the perfect thing for you to add hot water to. Get your tea kettles ready and your water going. We're working on popping out the list right now. But no rush. We're here to have a good time and be together. So, John, thank you for working that out. By the way, also adding that new background so that you can still see it, right? But you can still see the bottles. That worked out really, really well. I like that. Thank you, sir.
Nice motion there. Cool.
Right? Just I can tell it's right about here, I think. Please, what were you going to say?
It's like we planned this.
Right? All that thinking.
Great. Okay, so recap again. You're using 2 ounces of cold coffee concentrate. You're gonna make it hot with the hot water. And I'm just going 4 ounces freshly brewed coffee.
Yep. If anybody's got if anybody has coffee left over from today, warm it up in the microwave. Grab 4 ounces, measure it out before it gets hot. That's going to be the easiest way for you, so you can pour it right out of your mug into your glass. Or if put it in your Chargers mug. Hey, there's no shame in this, as long as it tastes right. John and I, we just want our glasses to look pretty for everybody out there so they can enjoy it. But if you're having it out of a I Love Lucy mug, hey, enjoy yourself. You're worthy of that good drink. All right, so
Thank you for the
John,
compliment. Thank you for the compliment, Giselle.
Ooh,
Welcome back.
you, Giselle.
Coffee time.
Any of the cocktail not with coffee? I don't like coffee. Well, you know what? We do have some drinks without coffee tonight, Loriander. Or one drink tonight. It's going to be our last drink, and believe it or not, we're still going to be utilizing the Scotch bonnet syrup. So we got that nice orange and a little bit of that spice in the background and the floral flavor from the Scotch bonnets. And we're going to pair that up with some gin. If you have some mildly, I'd say some mildly botanical gin, that's going to be where you're going to want to head. But the only two things that we're working with that might be a little bit harder to get for that particular cocktail are happen to be a Szechuan peppercorn infusion with potato vodka, and we've also infused some Jinro soju with rose buds. So that might be a little tough for you to have around, but if you do, you're going to this is going to work out. Other than that, all you need is a lemon and some soda water. So those are totally obtainable. In the meantime, though, John, let's talk about the coffee cocktails because we were talking about Scotch. Szechuan syrup might actually get you there, Loriander. But the Scotch, so I wanted to do something a little bit smoky to go along with these flavors. This Scotch is not super smoky, but it is based on the antique blend of McKinley's Rare Old Highland Malt Whiskey, and it was the spirit supplied to the 1907 British Arctic Expedition.
Yes. I don't have the bottle, but I know it reads on the back. I pulled it up here. Sir, in 1907, on the Antarctic expedition, Sir Ernest Shackleton personally ordered 25 cases of McKinley's Rare Old Highland Malt Whiskey to fortify them on their journey. And this, apparently that original Scotch was rediscovered in 2007. And then the bottle you have is not from that expedition, unfortunately, but it's a recreation of that flavor at a very affordable price. It's not an expensive blended Scotch.
And it's delicious, though. It's
great.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you found it and turned me onto it. Right? You know what the best part about that is, Alex? I'm dying. Sorry, John. What were you going to say? Go ahead. I'll remember mine.
Go ahead.
Alex, I'm always shocked at how they always find room for liquor on any expedition. It reminds me of that story I told you, John, about and everybody who was here for the apple brandy from Layard's. That you remember that one that George Washington made sure all his troops had it. It was part of his contract. Like everybody always makes sure they have enough alcohol around to keep people from. I mean, let's be honest. If you're in some terrible place, I suppose that probably is what greases the wheels to keep everybody from killing each other.
You also told the story about the old original American whiskeys found inside the walls of someone's house.
Yeah.
It wasn't enough to put it on display or in a liquor cabinet. It had to be. Well, it
was because they were hiding it from
liquor.
Right. That was because it was a bootlegger trying to hide it from the authorities during Prohibition.
Mm-hmm.
But go figure, right?
There.
You know, could you mind stumbling upon $25,000, like $25,000 bottles of Old Forester? Oh, Old Fitzgerald, that's what it was. And I'm just more shocked that like those, I like that some of those brands are still around, or that, like you said, that they're finding flavor profiles and formulas for old liquors and old liqueurs as well, and reformulating them. What do we like? We always talk about Sanamaro Chiacharo, Oh, I was gonna ask Bree to get it. Um, it is Grand Classico from Tempest Fugit, and it
Oh yeah.
supposedly is the idea of what Campari originally was, with its
Oh, because Campari has changed over the years, over
yeah,
centuries.
right, and that's what
I
it
don't know
is.
how old it is.
I think it's 170 years old, something close to that,
Yeah, yeah.
and yeah, so they say it's changed. Who knows? Maybe that was just what the grandparent of it as well. But the idea, I
Hmm.
just like that we're trying to, because otherwise these great things were lost before all these great things that existed before prohibition, basically, and temperance, and everybody trying to do that. Yeah.
So, since drinking is good for morale, and wait, are we going to eat our friends if we're drunk, or not eat our friends if we're drunk?
I don't. I think you're gonna not eat your friends as much. You're gonna just cry and say, "I love you. I love you. I love you."
Well, in any case, shall we make this drink?
Yeah, let's do
See
that.
what happens.
My glass is nice and warm. Hopefully, we won't eat each other. Well, at least right
Hopefully no
now we're not.
cannibalism.
None of us are on expeditions either, and except in our own houses and in our own minds. So that at least would limit the search party or the party of eating people. I don't know what's happening right now. Let's just get to the drink. All right, so we're talking about Scotch bonnet syrup, right, John? Let's start with that. Why not, right?
Okay.
Or no, let's. Should we build this one in the glass? We forgot to talk about how we were going to do this.
Oh, this drink is a total surprise to me.
Well, I say
defer
we
to
just
you.
build it. I say we just build it right in the glass. And you know what? Let's
Great.
start in the order that we actually have it there, and we won't confuse people. I just got freaked out and had to regroup. I'm all good.
That's fine. So pour
Okay.
out the water.
Pour out that water. Dump that water.
And then starting with the scotch.
Let's start with that Shackleton. So John was nice enough to, we split the bottle. He gave me the pretty one so we could get it on camera. Oh, you're good. We are, for this particular one, we're just going to do 1.5 ounces of scotch. Now, Dewar's would work if anybody out there has Toki, Japanese whiskey, that would work. They're all roughly around the same flavor profiles. You could also do Monkey Shoulder. That's going to be a little bit stronger and a little bit bolder than what we're using so far, or the Toki. But it would still completely work. You're just going to get a little bit more peaty flavor on that one. All right, so we got the scotch out of the way. Now we'll knock out that 1 ounce of Scotch bonnet syrup. And remember, when we're doing this again, we're going to hit that meniscus. Everyone can see the shine from that great bubble when they're doing it. Now, there's one more way. If this isn't warm enough for anybody, you could always heat up these ingredients to the side and then pour them in. Also, like I said, if you're using hot coffee like John, that's going to take care of it 100% for you. If you are using this cold brew concentrate, yeah, just be ready for it. Test it before we add the whipped cream so that you know that you want to warm it up or not at that point. And then you can come back and put the whipped cream on. Yeah, you can warm it up with the booze in it. Bree was asking, can you warm it up with the booze in it? And yes, you can warm it up with the booze in it. You're not going to put it in there for 3 minutes or anything like that, but a nice little pop at 35 seconds is probably going to be more than enough because it's still going to already be warm. That's just going to warm it up with just a little bit. Do you mind grabbing me just a little bit of water? I'm like, yeah. Okay, so next up, I'm going to do the 2 ounces of cold coffee concentrate. And John,
Reheated,
go ahead and
or room temperature for you.
4. Yep, mine's room temperature. And
And so
hopefully
for
my
me,
tea
since I'm
kettle
not adding the 2 ounces water, should I just go ahead with 4 ounces of coffee?
go straight up for that 4 ounces of coffee. You are exactly correct. And I'm gonna grab. I'm already spilling. So we are. It's funny because we're doing both of these coffee drinks tonight, and they are really, really similar, just slightly different. Utilizing the same flavors. That's why some like it hot, some like it cold. Yeah, I'm interested to see what you think, John. Like, I want to hear a lot from you about it because I know I've drank these so many times that I know I got my like favorite quirks that each one provides. But I'm curious to know what you think by the end. All right, while John does that, I'm gonna get the Angostura bitters down. I thank you so much. A couple friends out there already have some cold coffee concentrate. Your cold coffee concentrate already has the Angostura and the Noble Bitters spiced pecan. So you don't need to worry about that at all. Actually, you know what? That is perfect right there. Yours is already done. I'm going to add mine now. I got these great dasher darts. Thank you, Santa.
Love a good dasher.
Right? You got great ones. And I'm just doing 5 drops of the spiced pecan bitters in that, John, and 2 dashes of Angostura.
I'm so happy to revisit these. We used these on an earlier stream, right?
Yep. Now, this is kind of my take. I simplified the name. This was my take on mole bitters without the peanuts. So, oh, did you already get your Ango in?
Yes.
Cool. Nice job. So, yeah, we simplified the name, but the reason I want that in there is a little bit of smoke. There is a little bit of chili de arbol in there. And you don't necessarily need the coffee, but the pecan adds like this great carameliness that just accentuates the flavor of the coffee that I'm using today. And I bet the one that John is using as well.
Can't wait.
All right, so I'm going to do 2 ounces of hot water. Remember, I do this technique so that I can use my jigger and get a full accurate measurement. But I make sure that I hold it below the band, and you got to do it fairly quickly. But you're holding it below the band because that part doesn't heat up. Oh my God, that was crazy. I should have done it like this, but I get excited. Now, almost there. We're going to do a little whipped cream. We're going to do a little cinnamon. And John, we're going to do a new technique with whipped cream today. So, everybody, I always suggest if we're going to do technique in this particular way, which I love being able to float whipped cream on drinks. If you're going to do it this particular way, and we're going to do this way for this cocktail and the next one that we're going to do with coffee, grab a squeeze bottle. It can be an old mustard bottle. It doesn't really matter. The tip does help though, but you want a little bit wider. Nothing too small. This one's standard for here. We are going to do. We're going to start with some cream, and I'm going to go about 1/3 of the way up the bottle. Probably close to about 4 ounces. Stay nice and cold in there. Love it. Doing its job. All right. Put those 2 there. Actually, you know what? While I'm going to do that, I can already tell this isn't warm enough. Will you throw that in the microwave? I'm going to have Bree. Bree's going to put my money where my mouth is. Something like that. And she's going to go ahead and actually heat that up now. I can already tell. Everybody will see that you can easily warm up a little bit of alcohol in your microwave. Remember, the ratio of alcohol for that is a little bit of alcohol with a bunch of coffee, water, syrup, a bunch of other non-flammable things. And even at 80 proof, not super flammable. All right, so what I went ahead and did was roughly, I had to break it down a little bit smaller to fit it into the mouth of my bottle, but it's basically a rounded bar spoon's worth of powdered sugar. Now remember, we're using powdered sugar to help hold that structure inside the protein structure of the heavy whipping cream. There's also cornstarch that helps hold that as well for the emulsifier. Thank you, that was awesome. And that's all we're gonna need. We're gonna put our fingers over the top and just simply shake it in our hand. And just like when we were shaking the whipping cream in the cans, John, with the shaker balls that really made like a nice, thick, heavier whipped cream, you can feel the difference and you can also hear it in the bottle as it starts to thicken up. And remember, we want this to be a little bit thick, but we also want it to be a nice enough liquid that it's going to spread over the top. So just a partial whip. Bree, will you switch over to? You could spray it, Alex. You could definitely put it right into your. Yeah, will you put the coffee mug primary? And it might evaporate a little bit, but there's not that much. John, how's yours feeling? Is it starting to thicken up?
Yes.
Okay. I think mine is almost there as well. And I got no guests, so I'm shaking away from me, which I never would do if there's anybody here, right? Bree's just standing here trying to catch it.
What is
right there, John? I think you're probably right. Check it.
What does a guest at your bar? What does a guest at your bar get if you spill stuff on them?
An apology and a free drink.
Free cocktail? Any cocktail?
Usually a snack. Yeah, definitely a free any cocktail. Well, yeah, not somebody who's going to be like, oh, I'll take a Japanese whiskey Manhattan. John, check this out. I wanted to show everybody, how's your bottle looking before you start putting it on? Sorry, I'll tell you. My bad. Did the volume change? Because I wasn't sure if everybody saw.
It's gone way up. Yeah.
Okay. It almost, not quite doubles, but almost doubles. Okay, back to the rotating camera, and I'm going to show everybody on here how I'm going to float this around the top. And one of my favorite ways is to bring the tip just to the side of your glass and let it pour through. The spinner makes it so easy. But you're gently squeezing out because you want it to remain right on the top and not plunge down. We're not going to go too crazy high. There we go. I think that looks schmexy. Oh my gosh, John, you know what? I got ahead of myself and I forgot the orange peel for this one. Everybody's got an orange in theirs. You can skip it if you want. I still want to get mine in. So I'm going to sneak a half on the side. And I'm going to go a little bit lighter on my peel. A little bit thinner with a little less pith than I normally do, because I'm not going to trim this one down, and I just really want those oils. I also don't necessarily want a lot of those oils on the top of my whipping cream right now, though. So I am not going to do the normal.
Was the orange supposed to come first before the?
It was. I was supposed to put the orange in with the into the coffee and everything before we put on our whipping cream. This was a last-minute technique that I pulled out last night when I was testing these at like 2 a.m. and for like one more, and I was like, it's just missing a little bit of something to make it a little bit more special and stand out just a little bit from its cold cousin that's going to be coming out. So what we're going to do, John, is what I want you to do is partially express your oil, but let's keep it on your peel. So don't necessarily express it onto the drink.
Okay.
You're just going to look at it. And here's a great way for you to actually realize if you're always missing everything that John and I are trying to spray, or when you're doing your own, you can see it bead up right over the top. So you just want a little bit of that oil moistened over the top of your orange, and we are going to I'm going to take mine off of the spinner here. And I'm going to tuck mine just down the edge. Slowly, though. Because I want it to cut through the whipping cream and not necessarily plunge all the whipping cream. Nice. Worked out pretty well.
I've got, cool, okay.
You know, I forgot one thing. Do you mind grabbing the microplane out of the drawer?
The cream is supposed to come all the way to the top?
Yes, like you're going to need, so it all depends on the size of your glass. I say a good general rule of thumb is at least 1/4 of an inch of whipping cream on top. Oh, loving it.
1/4 inch.
Whipped creams or foams. Loriander, I believe you on that. I've had some of those pastries there, and they are fantastic. The cream foams, that's actually something John and I was just showing him something that I've been working on, trying to get some good foams. I like utilizing a little bit of xanthan gum, as well as trying to integrate some aquafaba into a little bit of coconut milk. I'm trying to do a vegan, nice, really fluffy whip, but the coconut milk does work with the xanthan gum. So there's another great one. Giselle, I love that you're appreciating our production value. We're trying to make them all pretty. Well, and it's funny too, Lucif, you're right about that European take on whipped cream. There's not a lot of extra stuff going with that. That's actually a little bit more similar to the whipping cream that we're using tonight. So John and I added just a very low ratio of sugar, mainly to help those bubbles bind. But it's not to add sweetness, because we have enough sweetness really already, John, with the syrup that we have in here. All right, so last but not least, let's add a little bit of cinnamon right to the top to accentuate the rest of the flavors, that mole flavor that we have from the bitters, the orange, and the Scotch bonnets or habanero style peppers, that they all still complement those same flavors. Thank you so much for the water, by the way. I really need that.
All right.
All right, you ready?
A little, some cream plunged, but I've got kind of a layer. Yours is
that's perfect.
Better separated.
I've got more practice, and I got a spinner too, right? So hey, John, one thing that I don't think I got a good chance to show everybody though, and why sometimes why things float a little bit better sometimes too, is I always try and hold the tip right against the wall of the glass into the corner. The trick is that takes all the pressure off of the cream from going straight down with gravity.
Gravity,
yeah. Flows out.
It runs down the side of the glass and slows it down, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the side of the glass is taking a little bit more of the tension away from the flow of it, and then it's almost just like falling onto the top of it. But the OCD in me and the practice that I've had just helps with that part. So please, yours looks fantastic. Mine were much messier when I started. So you still earn that pen, sir.
Can I drink this now or what?
Cheers. Hell yeah, let's go for it. Cheers, everybody. Let's get this party started. What do you think, man? I'm happy with that. Now, it doesn't even need to be too hot, too. Remember, these are just like the next cocktail that we're going to do. This one can be lukewarm, and I think it's delicious that way. It does not need to be hot, or a little bit more than lukewarm. The cocktail version that we're going to do with the same flavor profile actually is going to be just mildly cold. It's not going to be super, super chilled either. One, for dilution rate, and two, because we're using these warm spices in here, and I love the idea that it actually warms chemically in your mouth a little bit more than just the radiant heat that's coming off of it.
That is good.
John, I'm sorry, I went into that full explanation. Yeah, are you getting the heat that I'm talking about? A little bit of warmth in your mouth then?
Yeah. not too much. I was just going to remark that mine seems to be halfway gone already. Is that long? Yeah.
That's
Oops.
awesome. Well done. John is awarded 25 experience points, maximum of 30, until he moves up to the next level.
Yes, how do I earn that final 5?
I'm so glad. Keep those Ugg boots on for now, though, Margarita knows. And we'll knock those off a little bit in a few more minutes with the other drinks. Oh, I'm so glad, Tartar, you're loving the spicy syrup. You know, it's funny when you make up a flavor, and sometimes I feel lazy because I keep coming back to it. But at the same time, like every time I come back to this syrup, I'm happy again. I let it go for a few, like half of a year, and then come back, and I'm like, all right, that's another staple for me, at least.
Yeah, that orange too. Yeah, I agree.
You like the orange oil? It really comes through even more with the extra fresh orange in there, right?
Yeah, that worked out.
Margarita knows. I can't help it. I see details I wish I could ignore. Oh yeah, Loriander. Yes, I would love to give you a recipe for this syrup. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, we can totally send it. We can. You want to post it on the website? What do you think, John?
Yeah, easy.
Where's the best?
But yeah, website for now. Briefly, what is it? What goes into it again?
So briefly, how I end up doing this, and you can take this as a note. This is pretty. My briefly is still pretty formulaic. It's 6 to 7. The peels of 6 to 7 oranges, depending on their size. It'd be 6 if they're this big. But obviously they get smaller, and depending on how much you can get out of it, at least 2, if not 3 to 4, Scotch bonnet peppers or habanero peppers. And this is the really important part. You can take them out to change the intensity of the heat. It's harder to add them in and really figure out where they're going to go. And it also, why I give you a range of at least 2 to maybe 4, is you don't, obviously, it's hard to tell how spicy they are. But there's a really important part to getting all the flavors out and the true amount of spice out of it. Or a more realistic rounded amount of spice, and that is making sure you're slicing them and exposing the membranes, leaving the seeds in, literally just quartering them. I lay them out sideways and just give them a full quarter or in half, flip them, and then half again. And then you're gonna do, let's see, I think it is, if I remember right, and Bree, you have the recipe somewhere, but it's 2.5 cups of brown sugar packed to 1 cup of white sugar. That's okay. That's what it is. It just hit me. Bree was looking for it for me. And then what you do is you pour in 3 cups of boiling water, and that's it. And let that go for at least 2 or 3 days, and you're good to go. My favorite thing about most of my syrups, and what I've had to figure out through production for really busy bars, and it's just a great technique now. I like utilizing it for lots of different places, even for the Thirsty Therapy at-home classes and kits. It is freezing your syrups. It is really, really hard, and especially to go through the work of the more complicated syrups like this one or some of the other ones that I make, to see that spoil or go bad in a couple weeks, depending on what's in it. Sometimes they don't last, sometimes 2 weeks is all we got. So freezing that syrup is a great way to get your botanical flavors. Obviously, freezing botanicals is shit. It almost always ruins the flavor because you're making the cell walls of the vegetable cell walls explode when you have shards of, when the water's freeze inside of it, they turn to glass-like shards and they pop the membrane walls, and that changes the flavor when you help me out, when it defrosts, basically. So get your flavor out ahead of time with fresh product, and then freeze that syrup or that whatever it happens to be. If it's a tea, even sometimes you can do that, and then that way all you have to do is take it out when you need it, or take out small amounts of it, and unfreeze that, and you almost always will be able to have it around. You can also anticipate when you're going to need to make more, because you know you're down to that last one. So I'm going to use this last one, but I better make another one. Or second to last one is where I always like to make it. At least make sure I always have one backup going before I start the next batch. Oleo sacrum with chili in it. That would be awesome. An orange oleo sacrum. Yeah. You have something that's so thick, though. I will say this. I'd be curious how you got the chilies in it. And how you got that chili flavor, because oleo sacrum in its truest form is just the oils that have been the oils from citrus peels that have been moistened with that moisten the sugar, turn it into a nice intense syrup. But you know what, Loriander, if you did that, I would say that I would encourage you to have a honey syrup or something on the side, because the intensity of that would be so strong. You wouldn't want to have use the same recipe that we're showing you tonight with a sacrum, an oleo sacrum. Good. Oh, Tarts, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy how the Scotch bonnet is subtle, and that's what I want. I want just a little bit of heat. Again, my favorite thing is I want you all to know you're worthy of good drinks, and I also want to push you out of your comfort zones in just the most tasteful way and add new flavors to you. So a lot of people that don't want spice, I love nudging this in. This is a very gentle way to introduce like a different spice profile into your life.
Right. I'm a bit of a wimp when it comes to spice, hot foods. I always order mild when asked at like a Thai restaurant. The Scotch bonnet, this is just the perfect. At first, the first thing I get is, ooh, this is just sweet, and oh yeah, there is a little spice around the edges at the end. It's perfect.
Just creeping. That's all I want. Just a little creep on your tongue. Yeah. And you'll see too, then there's ways to offset those flavors just by a little bit. You'll see what we're going to add to our last cocktail. That's going to have a more spicy flavor profile by utilizing actually less of that syrup. About half as much syrup as we used in this last cocktail. The very last cocktail that we're doing, the cold one, that one is actually going to be having half as much syrup, and still it's going to have a more spicy flavor that you're going to pick up on.
Am I going to taste that spice individually? Because again, I tasted the Scotch bonnet syrup by itself, but not the other ingredient, the Szechuan peppercorn. That's where you get more heat, right?
Yeah, and it's not even as much heat as it's a brightness. It is like a slightly numbing sensation. It's a lemony flavor, but the way that mixes with the soda water and the Scotch bonnets, it dances. It's going to make the spice kind of dance on your tongue in a different way and bring out a different kind of spice, more spice, not even necessarily too much more heat, but just a little bit noticeable amount more. So John, as far as your flavor goes, you're going to be great. It's not going to be overpowering or too spicy for you, but it's going to be interesting how the spice morphs into something even more.
Oh, I look forward to it. The subtlety here has really set me up. I'm intrigued.
Good. Perfect. And I love that we can do that for people. It's I'm known for big, bold drinks. Make sure you're all drinking water out there too. Hydrate yourselves. John's got it. He reminded me I needed some.
I don't usually like to finish the drink before we've started the second one, but desperate times.
Right. We're taking our time tonight. We're not trying to rush. Trying to have a good time being with each other. And yeah, sometimes that happens. It gets away from us, doesn't it? But I do. Oh, I have one little tiny sip left, so I'm gonna take that and give Bree the very last one. Let's see what Loriander. Lay them in the bottom with the chilies on the bottom. I think you need less strong chili taste. Sit for 24 hours. Use a very strong chili. Yeah. Oh, and in my head, I don't know why I just thought of, as soon as you said chili, I was thinking like dried chili peppers. But a fresh, yeah. If you were doing, you could easily throw some habanero into your orange peels and then do like fresh habanero or fresh Scotch bonnets in with your orange peels and throw some granulated sugar in there and get a saccharum. Again, it's going to be crazy intense, so make sure you have some honey, syrup, or something on the side to kind of try and stretch these flavors out. But it's a great base for anything mole-like. It works really well with any cinnamon flavors. Please try it and let me know how it turns out oleo saccharum style, or if you want to use the recipe that we'll share with you on the website. Yeah. Oh, and Loriander, by the way, too, we're trying to step it up. We're getting our stuff going. I don't know how international we are, but we do have PayPal now. I know you're always asking about how to donate or how to tip us. And we always had Venmo, and that's hard for everybody outside of the US like yourself. I didn't even know Discord took money. We do have Discord too, but we got to work on that. I don't know if we're at the level that we need to be for them to take our money and us to get money from others, right, John?
Just having a presence there, being reachable there. That's the Twitch thing, right?
Oh, that's
Discord
right.
With exclusive access. We're not there yet.
We're working on it though, Loriander. Thanks for asking. We're actually going to try and work on some tiers and all that kind of stuff. Maybe have some exclusive access so we can work one-on-one with some of our patrons. But we'll talk about that when we get everything ironed out, rather than speculate, right, John?
Yes.
All right, so we got to do some other drinks though. John's drying out. I can see him right now. His gills are drying out.
I'm about to become a cannibal.
Everybody, the drink didn't work. We got to keep going. We tried to keep everybody not cannibalistic. All right, well, we're gonna shake this one. We can talk about that, John. I got some new fun glasses to go with. What are you gonna coupe it today?
I have honestly no idea what to expect of this drink. If you suggest a coupe, sure.
I suggest either a coupe or a Nick and Nora. The glasses that I'm going to use today, a little bit more Nick and Nora-like rather than a coupe-like. I'll put one right on the spinner, and I'll hold another one up too, John, so you can see.
Okay, it's 3 total ounces. Yeah, I'll go Nick and Nora. Oh, but with whipped cream?
And it's...
Interesting. Yeah, that'll be good. I can fill that to the top. Okay. Yeah.
Your Nick and Nora glass should be 5 ounces.
Yeah,
I think. So yeah, it should be. That's the idea, is that we're still gonna have enough of a nice lip for that one to go through. You know what I forgot, Bree? Do you mind grab me a set of pretty looking chopsticks? Thanks, baby. Oh, and you know what? I gotta clean up this sweet turntable.
But this is going to be a shake and drink, so we're building in our shakers.
We're going to build in our shakers for this one. But we're going to do a kind of a different technique for that, and we'll talk about that. Actually, let's talk about that while we're going, before we get going too far, John. And that is, I forgot to ask you before we started today. You have 1-inch cube ice cubes, right?
Yeah.
Like a silicone mold. Do you have a good amount of them? Like, do you have a full tray or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, why is this important? Keep going.
Well, so remember how I mentioned while we were doing the last drink and how it didn't need to be super hot because we have the spices and the chemical heat that's going to help warm it up? The same thing is going to be said for this particular cocktail. And remember, this is the big brother to the cocktail that we just had, the warm version. And the Big Brother's version is also hotter because it's got another 1/2 ounce of Scotch in it. Ratios are much more booze, than anything else, right? And so we've got heat in several ways. I got these chopsticks here that I'm shaking at everybody for my garnish when we get there. But yeah, so what we're going to do with this particular cocktail, and it doesn't need to be too cold, but we want it just slightly chilled. We're going to use either BFCs if you have them, or we're going to use, and if you do, one BFC. And I'll do that. John has 1-inch cubes. If you're going to do that, do 2 to 3 1-inch cubes. We're not going to shake this one too hard. We're going to go really, really light. And the idea behind that is, sorry, is that what you were going to say?
2 ice cubes per cocktail.
Are you going to double shake? Are you going to shake 2 cocktails in 1 can?
Yeah.
Okay, for you, go 4. Do 4 cubes then.
Okay.
And we're not going to shake them too hard. The bigger cubes, the idea behind the bigger cubes or shaking with a BFC is that we're controlling our dilution rate by a lot, John. We want it to chill, right? But we don't necessarily want to have all those ice chips that turn into water right away. We want this to be a little bit more like a, not quite an espresso martini, but more kind of that style, where it's all these flavors are a little more intense, and you're able to get that punch from it. So with that being said, we're only going to shake for maybe 10 to 15 seconds, not a long shake, and then we're going to do it a little more gently than we normally do. We're not going to do a Japanese hard shake, just a gentle back and forth rocking. Sound good? Okay.
Show me the way.
Bree, do you mind grabbing me the BFC, not the green silicone ice molds? John, you want to grab your 1-inch cubes right now, and then we'll get started. Perfect. Oh, I got it. Thank you. Perfect. All right. So set those to the side just for right now. Now you got them ready. Let's start with Some Like It Cold. Let's start with our Scotch. And again, you can do like a Scotch-style Japanese whiskey. John and I are both going to do Shackleton. We're going to do 2 ounces. If you're using a Japanese-style jigger, any jigger out there that stops at the 2 ounces, make sure that you're actually hitting that full meniscus, that tension bubble just before it spills over the side. I jet my fingers out again to hold tension in my hand.
Oh, yeah.
So that it keeps me nice and steady. That was taught to me by a bartender that I know worked with a lot of other people that came into work hungover. And sometimes your hands are shaking, and you need a nice steady hand to make sure you get your
coming into work a little cannibalistic.
Right? You never know. Hey, Loriander, thank you for the donation. Woo-hoo!
Thanks, Loriander.
We appreciate you. All right, so John, I did 2 full ounces of Scotch, and you're doing the Shackleton too. Again, blended Scotch is where we're going to be. If anybody's got doers out there, that's totally going to work for this one as well. We want that little bit of peatiness, almost very little smoke, and a little bit of carameliness to complement everything that we're working with. 1.25 ounces. If anybody is working with a kit that I gave them for the cold coffee concentrate, it's already measured out for you. If not, one of my favorite ways to get 1.25 ounces is probably one of the cleanest ways to measure, and that is pouring into right to the lines that are on the inside of your jigger, and you just do a quick 1/2 ounce and then a quick 3/4 ounce. They're the easiest things to make sure you don't over pour. You don't have to worry about that meniscus I was just hassling you about a couple minutes ago, to make sure that you have your accurate measurement. But again, if you're getting scared and shorting yourself just before you get to the top of your rim, you're actually not even getting the full ounce. So it can, maybe not by much, depending on the drink. But if it adds up enough, it can really change the intensity of the cocktail that you're making by getting those ratios off just by a little bit. All right, so I got 2 ounces of Scotch. I got 1.25 ounces of cold coffee concentrate. Put that back.
So I didn't have the same concentrate as you. I brewed coffee using the same method I did earlier on the stream and just refrigerated it a few hours ago.
Perfect. It just helps having it. It helps if it's a little bit stronger, if you made it. And I think you made yours a little bit stronger on purpose for this one, right, John?
Yeah. But
That
I still stopped at brewing because you said you wanted the cold to do something with the acids, right? In the refrigerator?
That's right. I wanted you to try and chill it right away, like we talked about how I laid down the jar in mine too. I wanted you to try and chill it right away. When you leave coffee out all day long, you know that flavor at the end, a couple hours later after you've brewed it, is much more sour, much more bitter. All those acids have been allowed to develop and oxidize. And just get more intense and a little bit worse. And you also have evaporation that's happening there. So I love the idea of giving it, putting it straight into the fridge right away and trying to chill it as rapidly as you can. And especially if you're making it more intense, like I did a double amount of coffee for a pour over that I normally would for the amount of liquid.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that can be bitter in itself, right? Like that's enough sometimes to be off-putting. So we're going to add that, and then we definitely want to cool that down quickly to try and neutralize those acids. Thanks for bringing that up, John. All right, so let's go to some syrups. We're going to do the Scotch bonnet syrup, and for this one, we're going to do 3/4 of an ounce of Scotch bonnet syrup. Again, we have the other flavors that are more intense. This one's the last cocktail that we did is a great intro cocktail. This is an adult coffee cocktail. Someone who wants to taste their alcohol, someone who doesn't necessarily want to have it too sweet. Even remember, the whipped cream that we're working with does not have too much of a sweetness to it. So even that's going to be the right kind of setting for this drink. And it really helps dialing back that syrup right now. All right, so John, I'm going to do the ice cube now. I'm doing a BFC for mine. Just because, again, that gives me the surface area to chill this cocktail enough. But it's also such a solid piece of ice that it's not going to break up very well or too much.
I'm just using the 1-inch ice cubes, 2 per cocktail.
And I started a little early. I got a little bit ahead of John. So I'm going to go a little bit longer than I normally would. But if anybody's going back and forth like this, at the same intensity as I am, you can already feel your shakers starting to chill. Everybody can already see mine are starting to get frosted. That's right where you need to be. Stop right there. Let it go out. Now you can shake it more. You just don't want to for the right amount of flavor for this particular one. We could give it a whole 4-minute shake, but it's just going to loosen up that coffee flavor and then really water it down the more we do it. Johnny, already getting chilled? It looks like I can already see it on the outside of your shaker.
Yep. Perfect.
And remember, this one's got some spice to it still, so it's going to warm right there in your mouth. So don't worry about... You know what? I'm going to have to do this in 2 glasses. That'll be good. Bree and I can share it. I'm going to even it out, actually. See if I can get this one on there. Sweet. They're both right about the same place. Oh my God, I love you, Lucifer. Well done. I wasn't even going to do an orange for this one, but we could. John, you want to do an orange for this one?
Oh,
I appreciate.
Is this one supposed to have an orange? Is that a joke?
Nah, it's not. But I do it. It's not going to hurt it. Again, we have all these great flavors that are already just going to be complemented. All right, so I have my spinner. You have your You have your squirt bottle the same way. I'm going to show everybody and have Bree switch over to this side while I put my cream on. However, John, let's see if it works any better for you to go ahead and push the tip of your bottle into the crease, just right where your liquid starts with the side of your glass.
Cool.
And see if that helps get a
Yeah.
float over the top that doesn't sink as much.
I'm watching.
And also, when you do it too, one more thing is, it always helps too. See how I got a little bit of foam on this one. This one's not so much, but that surface tension is going to help hold our foam on, or our cream on here as well. And look, I didn't get in there well enough. So mine might actually plunge too. If anybody saw our Instagram page, I was trying to do this as pretty as I could, and it didn't turn out as cool as I wanted it to. Not bad. All right, now this one only needs about a quarter of an inch, just like the other one, John, but you can go a little bit heavier. I wanted to get to the top of this glass. I'm really happy with the way that looks, especially with that cute little glass. Thank you, Targ Tarts. I'm glad you like them. I remember, as I told everybody, John and I, we said we're gonna, anything that anybody is willing to donate or share with us, we're gonna put back into everything that we do for you on the stream here. And so I went and found some cool, some vintage shops that had some really great glassware. We'll start posting new things onto our Instagram account, as well as onto, well, the stream and onto to YouTube. I thought we lost our music there for a second, John. It made me pause. Now, one more technique. Yeah, we're totally good. Can you get that, Bree? Is this one still going? Can you get that? Let's see. Okay, perfect. If everybody can see here, I'm going to do this other one a little bit differently than I did with the spinning one. And that is, I'm going to pour it down the side and let the cream flow all the way from one side to the other, kind of like an oil slick. And there is the other way that I like adding a nice float of cream to a cocktail. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Use an Ancho Chili Reyes. Okay, sorry, I was getting ahead, John. I was reading all that from Loriander, an ISO whip too. Okay, so, which works so well. All right, so we got everything we need, John. The only thing I'm gonna add, just because I want to make it pretty, while you take a sip of yours, I'm gonna add a fun garnish.
All right.
Just to make this like picture worthy. And we'll have Bree with her camera take a picture of us live. So these look like pickled jalapenos or pickled habaneros, but they happen to be for a habanero tincture. So I'm adding a little bit of habanero tincture just to up the intensity of the spiciness in this particular one. Bree loves stuff spicy. Ooh, John, that one's beautiful. Take a sip. Tell me what you think while everybody looks at this.
Big brother. That's awesome. I like big flavors. I like tasting the alcohol. So I think I prefer this over the hot version.
Yeah.
It's still delicate. It's not hitting you over the head with spice or Scotch. I taste all the things. Yeah, this is a winter warmer, but not an beat you over the head one.
Good. Yay. So that's what I tried to stop myself from saying earlier. This one's my favorite version of the two. But I loved when we talked about it that we like had a little bit slightly variant versions for both. Um, and some like it hot, some like it cold. Some aren't going to want it as intense. I know I can actually think of people in both your and my life right now that would be happier with the hotter version. But you and I are not that type of drinker. We enjoy those stronger flavors so much more.
Again, I'm having trouble slowing down because while this is the same size as one of my anytime drinks, the daiquiri, same exact ounce and glassware, it tastes like coffee, so I'm kind of sipping it a little quicker. I should slow down.
Bree likes it too. I gave her she likes this version. She said that this version's her favorite, but I also gave her the one with the habanero tincture, and she loves her spice. You and I are a little bit more on the mild side, although her spiciness has crept into my life in so many ways in the 18 years that we've been together that that now I'm a lot more spicy eating than I ever was before. Oh, go with the flow. I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, Loriander, for sure. That's what I did with my ISI whipper. If you wanted to try and get them infused fast enough, up your charges, and then up the amount of rows that you're willing, like that you can put into it. So this one, I was shocked at how I could get it done in a couple days with the ISI. But I also quadrupled the amount of roses that I would normally put in it for ratio wise, just to really step it up. So and then I up my charges. So remember, with every other charge, it's bringing with every extra charge that you're putting into like a whip canister, it's changing the amount of environmental pressure that is on that. So if you had enough pressure, John, this is my favorite thing with like vacuum sealers, with vacuum sealers or or ISO whips, is the idea that you can boil things at room temperature based on the amount of pressure that's on them. That's one of the coolest things that I ever learned, watching something get pressurized and start boiling and come out and still be cold. And that basically helps us jump up our steeping process. So I'd show you mine, but I actually switched it out with after I did the rose infusion. John tried it when I saw him last, socially distanced, of course, but a little bit of a cardamom coconut whipped cream that I'm working on for a different cocktail. You'll see it on Instagram. We won't be doing that here. What? Days or mean minutes? I did mine for a couple days because of the intensity that I wanted.
But Loriander wants
I
to
like
drink with us
extras
tonight.
Yeah, but Loriander, if you do that and do 3 charges, I think you could probably get there in minutes. And we got time to enjoy this drink and slow down and talk about everything else that we're doing. So I think you'll be able to do it. But like I said, I do a pretty intense amount. And if you have cheesecloth, I'd actually do more roses than I would liquid, and then just wring them out after you get it out of the ISO whip. 2 or 3 charges, probably 10 minutes. The first time I did this, John, with soju, I was doing 2 max. Do you have? Oh, I guess I should have asked if you have I have a liter can. I have 2 different kinds of ISI whips. One is a smaller one and it has a plastic top, and that one shouldn't have too many in it. But then I have a stainless steel one that can handle another extra charge. So max out at 2. Just try and do your best to not add too much. Try it to, like I said, do a higher ratio of roses to soju. Can't believe you have soju too. That's awesome. All right. I love that we're all able to get together and try this. I love that everybody's enjoying those flavors. If anybody else wants to jump in and try and put these together, a few of you got a chance to try some of the flavors, like I was able to hook John up with. What's my favorite bottle, Luciv? Luciv asked everybody what my favorite bottle was on this back shelf. Do I have to have one? Yeah, but Bree just said, she's like, that's impossible. And I don't know if she just means me. Well, they're all such different creatures. Okay, let's say if I'm just sipping one, end of the night, just a sipping whiskey, since most of them happen to be whiskeys, I'd probably do the Nika Coffee Malt. The malting process of the... Actually, here, I'm going to put it on the spinner. So, and everybody will see when this thing spins around. So Nika is a Japanese whiskey maker that was actually the third company created by the godfather of all Japanese whiskeys, or his own company, but we'll get into that later. Who's your favorite child? Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Right? I know, they might be watching right now.
Better just talk about the Nika and pretend that didn't happen.
Yeah, right? Let's get back to that. So, malting process. So this is made with a coffee still. A coffee still is a very overcomplicated still. And since we're zoomed in, I'm going to bring it right there and hopefully... Perfect. So as everybody can see, it's a stack style still that that creates a really refined, smooth flavor. It filters out a lot. I'm impressed with it. In fact, they even started making gins and vodkas with this same still because it took off, and they're cheaper to produce. So in fact, I heard that the Nika company is going to make more of these gins and vodkas because they don't have to let them age for years. But this particular one, as I was saying, is malted. So the malting process means that you're sprouting the grains. And as you do that, it changes all those grains, start turning what's inside of them into residual sugars so that that little sprout, that little plant can eat. And when it does that, and you take those slightly sprouted grains and turn them into an alcohol, that extra sugar, usually a little bit more sweetness or smoothness, is transformed into that. In fact, we have that with I think our Shackleton is a malt too, isn't it? Yeah, it's a malt, so a malted Scotch as well. And we all know that Japanese whiskeys follow that.
Blended malt as opposed to like Johnny Walker, which is blended from all over.
And I really, like I said, I really appreciate the process of it. The Nika coffee grain's delicious as well. It's got a little bit more of a black peppery finish for me, a little bit more of a different kind of heat. But I like them all. Weller is amazing. That's the reserve one. Henry McKenna, I actually fell in love with years ago, but it got, I think like 6 years ago I found out about it, and 2 years ago it won the gold for like year's best whiskey. And now you can hardly get your hands on it. I think I've been holding on to that one for 2 years now.
Oh, which one was
that? This one's a Henry McKenna. So this is Henry McKenna. John, you're right. I've talked about that one before because I like the Henry McKenna for a well whiskey if you want a sweeter one. But this is a 10-year bonded in bottle. So that means it's it's 100 proof.
Yeah.
It's just delicious. My labels, I got a little scratch on one of my labels, but it's still a pretty bottle. A really smooth, nice spice level. That one for me is like, it's hard to get your hands on, but that is a good, like, touchable one for all of us if you live in an area that it's easily obtainable. Because it's still under $40. The flavors are just really, really cool. There's a Ransom Emerald, but John, I think we're going to have a whole Ransom night We can talk about Ransom whiskeys, and you and I talk a lot about the Ransom Old Tom Gin already.
Yeah. Yeah. Old Tom Gin night. And we've got a great Old Tom Gin made here in Oregon. So why venture further than that?
Right? One of my favorites too. It
Good old
really
Ransom.
is like, yeah, Ransom is such a great expression of Old Tom Gin because it's done in the idea that it was made when all gins were Old Tom style because every alcohol had to be placed in a barrel to preserve it. So they always got that caramely color. That's why it's so much darker than the River Rain gin that's right next to it behind John. I mean, it's got this great caramely color, but you're adding caramel from the barrel, and then you're also adding a nice pininess from all the botanicals that they're using that we have to offer here in the Pacific Northwest. Did you already finish your entire cocktail?
I was going to say, so much gin, so much coffee, so much whiskey.
I really appreciate the Scotch, by the way, that when I can taste it, John, in the back, right after the coffee leaves my mouth.
Urged Cannibal is lowered.
Yeah. Oh, and elusive. You're not gonna so two things with Nika and most Japanese whiskeys, and then also Portland. Because they were trying to hold. So I've been dealing with Japanese whiskeys now for 10 years. Because they were trying to hold enough Japanese whiskeys so that they could really sell at the 2020 Olympics, they stopped exporting the same amount that they were exporting in previous years so that they could kind of hold back and hedge because they knew people would be there in Japan and excited, or they thought people would be there in Japan and excited. And then, yeah, the pandemic hit. So I'm not sure if they're still holding out, hoping that 2021 is going to be their year. But production-wise, they stopped sending out as much. Oregon-wise, we're already limited with the amount of alcohol that Oregon agrees to bring in with the OLCC. So that limits us as well. And then on top of it, then the OLCC also keeps, while it regulates that we all pay the same price for it, there's only a certain amount that's out there. And they're gobbled up really, really quick. And still, especially by the accounts that are, guaranteeing to buy so much. Of course, they're going to take care of their regulars when it comes to that. So good luck. I tried finding it anywhere other than Portland. I still think there's going to be a great way to stumble upon some in like a nearby Bevmo or Total Wines in some other state, or having a friend find it for you, because not everybody is as excited about those as we are up here. So sometimes I have people, you know what I mean? I have family who find them in Arizona, no problem. Really? 80th and Powell has this Henry McKenna? I got to check it out. Although I'm trying to slow my budget. Got enough here for a hot minute, but dang it, as Bree just started laughing. Like, please, not yet. Don't go get more yet.
It's that old phrase, kid in a candy store.
Right? That's me. And then I'm like, wait, what about this? Oh, wait, maybe I could do something with this.
Oh, I've always wanted to have a bottle of Fernet.
Right? Oh, man. Well, and it's funny, Fernet, I didn't see last time I was there. I was just thinking of green chartreuse that I still haven't gotten. All the things that I feel like I need to have around that doesn't even get me started on all the fun things that I see that I want to get.
Yeah.
Yes, Nika does. It was a Nika from the barrel. I've had that, actually. I owned a bottle of that and finished that. And I had one for a Furi, too. Great little bottle. It's hotter than I expected. And you're right. I remember that they did win an award from the barrel. Obviously, it's hot because it's from the barrel, but also hot as far as its refinement. um, for that particular one. But that was just me. I was also diving into tons of different Japanese whiskeys at the time. In fact, Tai Chi, the owner of Furi, where John and I met, was obviously able to bring home different kinds of Japanese whiskeys that he could only get in Japan. We couldn't sell them at the bar, but we could all taste them and help with our own education. And to see how much further Nika could go in Japan as opposed to just that from the barrel, I was impressed more with some of their other products that they were able to develop. Even Nika Days has a different, and that is now available here, and it wasn't for a while. That one has a nice smokier flavor profile. John, it would have worked great in these cocktails that we're doing today.
Billy, did you ever have Nika Yuichi?
Yes. Actually, I love that you just said that. Yoichi and its cousin. Oh man. How can I do this? I'm disappointing so many. If any of my friends from any of the Japanese restaurants that I've ever been at would be so disappointed in me having that mind melt right now. But yes, Yoichi 5-year used to be one of my favorites. Oh no, I'm sorry, 15-year. They stopped making them with age. They started making them blended and stopped making them with age expressions, and that's when the flavor profile changed. In fact, I loved it. So I really, really thought that it was the best because I liked how caramely it was, similar to how I was describing the coffee malt. And somebody teased me that I worked with, because they had more experience than me, and said that I liked it because it was closer to just American whiskey, and that's why I liked it. And I didn't really understand the refinement of the Scotch influence. And then the next year it won the award for the best whiskey in the world, and I totally had to give my friends so much shit. But it wasn't well-deserved shit or anything like that. It wasn't that I was like that much better at flavors. It was just because finally I was like, oh, look at, I suppose a few other people thought it was a pretty great whiskey too. When he always teased me for going for the smoothest.
I wanted to shout out my mom, who was in the chat a little bit earlier. She bought me a bottle of Nika Yuichi. It had an age statement. I want to say it was either 10 or 15. You can't get it anymore. It's the best whiskey I've ever had. Somehow the Japanese, split the difference really between the Highland Scotch and Islay Scotch is so wonderfully subtle. Can't get it anymore.
Nope. Hey, John, we should do a whole, since I have great stories. I've been lucky enough to learn from teachers like Johnny the Scott and Ari and a few other friends that work for Beam Suntory. We should do a Japanese whiskey class where we talk about it and taste it, or not class, but a show where we talk about it and taste them. And then we can go into a little bit more, because I'd love to take the time to tell you how the history of the Japanese whiskey companies and how closely they do tie into Scotch.
Right.
There's a lot to talk about there, like tons.
Yeah, I visited the Yamazaki distillery. I got the Kool-Aid. I drank the Kool-Aid.
Yes.
It's they're great. I mean, oh no, I have to drink great whiskey for an entire stream. Oh.
Right, and that's not even talking about like Yamazaki or Hakushu, which I don't have any of, and we probably won't be able to get them for our class. I might. Who knows? Maybe we can see if we could get a sample from a friend. You never know.
Yeah, those are my go-tos.
Figure something out.
You can't get them anymore. Those two specifically are owned by Beam Suntory, right? Is Nika the same?
No, Nika's not the same. Nika is its own spinoff. EY is its own spinoff as well. But otherwise, let's see. Is there one more? Akashi. That's another one that's
Hmm.
its own. And there's two. They have two or three different expressions of that Akashi, which is a good, affordable, touchable entry level. Um, Yamazaki, Hakushu. I love to get my hands on some of those, but I think the cheapest
Yeah.
bottle is $150, and
I remember
then
when they
now
were.
with their exclusivity, they're just.
I remember when they were 30, 40. Yeah. Gosh.
Yoichi 15 year, I was the most expensive bottle I had ever purchased, and it was $60, and that was the most. Then that was that fancy bottle
Well,
you were just talking about. Like
that's a bargain.
right, you couldn't touch a 15 year for less than $200 right now.
Yeah. Well,
But
enough nerding out on whiskey. Should we
I
have some
also think
gin?
it's important to say this. We should. But before we go on to that, I gotta say, I think it's important to recognize the fact that while all these Japanese whiskeys are fantastic and refined, um, their covenants and their how excited we are about them sometimes even baffles some friends of mine that are Japanese, and I find that fascinating and also important to remember because we falsely push up the prices of some of these things.
Hmm.
Weirdly enough, we do the same thing when it comes to like eating fish and stuff like that. But we overindulge sometimes in one category so much, so we push up the prices and the exclusivity of these things when they are good. But there are still a ton of great expressions that are similar or just as valued all over the world that you could try, and to give us all a little bit better balance of the product that we're trying to, the flavors that we actually want to get, rather than just being like, oh, Japanese whiskey is expensive, it's got to be good, I'm gonna go get it, because that doesn't. There's some Japanese whiskeys that I don't know if anybody knows it that aren't even made with grains or made out of rice.
Hmm. Hmm.
Oishi is actually, I believe, the Japanese whiskey that's made straight from rice, which is strange because barley and wheat tend to be the almost the standard for a whiskey as far as like getting its flavor.
Right, right. Hmm.
Anyway, all right, so let's talk about our last drink,
Sterling.
Sterling. So I named this one after my favorite rose. A Sterling rose is something I found out about probably like 25 years ago. I thought it was the coolest, most unique um, rose around, I guess. Uh, yeah, it is beautiful because it is very pale, light purple with an iridescent shine that almost makes it look like silver, sterling silvery color, and that's the basis for its name. It's fascinating to me because it is almost thornless, but the aromatics, the smell, the floral perfume of it is so fantastic and intense, but sweet. I should say the intensity of it is bold, but it's not overpowering. And I think that's really, really cool. And this great, delicate, really unique flower. And I found out that it's the parent plant of any rose that is purple or pale in color. All of them have been cross spliced with the sterling rose. Fascinating, huh?
Well, you're going to be excited for this drink. What could possibly
Right?
deserve that name?
Well,
Sterling.
the cool part about it for me, the other cool part for me, Bree, actually, would you grab me those silicone trays? John, we're gonna do some like a highball. So we're gonna put these in a highball glass. You can
Okay.
grab your ice cubes, your 1 inch ice cubes again if you want, and your highball glasses. And
Yeah.
while you do that, I'll talk a little bit more about um, some other parts that I think are uniquely coincidental about the name that I picked for this cocktail. Not only does this cocktail have a little bit of rose flavor in it with the rose soju, but the particular smell profiles of a sterling rose happen to be slightly citrusy, a little bit of spice, and then sweetness. And with this, I think you get that slight bright lemony spice with the Szechuan peppercorn infused potato vodka. And it really complements the spice like John and I were talking about an hour ago, and brings it up. And then also, one of my favorite things about the Szechuan peppercorn potato vodka is that when you add just a little bit of soda water, or a good amount of soda water, it almost makes this lemony, tingly sensation that you get from Szechuan peppercorns. It makes it dance across your tongue. So nerds me out to no end, to have those kind of sensory things that I can provide for myself and for everybody. I think that's a fun way to surprise yourself. What do you think, John? Are you excited? You look intrigued.
You're building
you
in
really
the
look
glass?
intrigued. Nope. I'm just getting my glasses ready because I'm gonna pour over after we do the build. Okay. So we're gonna stir this cocktail. I'm just getting my glass. I'm actually setting the stage. I know sometimes I skip that part. Today I was trying to be proactive. Okay, cool. I'm going to use regular cubes for this stir. Okay. It doesn't have to be big cubes for this one. We don't mind the dilution rate. We're going to do a full stir for 30 seconds too for this one because we want a good amount of dilution on it, because of the flavors that we're going to be using. But it's kind of fun to get everything where we need to have it. So I'm going to grab my jiggers, and then I'm also going to use, John, I was lucky enough to get some new measuring spoons, and one of them happens to be the exact measurement that we need, 1.25 or a half of a quarter of an ounce, for our Szechuan peppercorn potato vodka. If you don't have that and you have the quarter ounce measure, you're going to want to half it as close as you can. But remember, with the shape of your jigger, though, John, you kind of need to take a look at the inside lines of your jigger, and you can see how they proportionately change based on the width of your glass. So do the same thing when you're trying to make sure you get half. It's not exactly half in the middle. That's going to be a little bit less than you need. So it's going to be a little bit more like 3/4 of the way up, 3/4 of the way to the first line, if you have a quarter ounce line.
Okay, yeah.
Or if you have one of these, go for that. So with that being said, let's start with that first thing, and we're going to do gin. And John and I both are using River Rain. It's produced by Jazz Spirits in Albany here in Oregon. I am digging the flavor of this, John.
Yeah, you gave me a sample, and I said that is my next gin.
Yeah, it's got a great. So, please go ahead. You describe the flavors that you're smelling.
I mean, peppery, pepper. I don't get a lot of gins with pepper in them, so that stands out. But also citrus forward.
And I think it's medium botanical. They're calling it a dry gin. And while it is a dry gin, think about it as like a new American dry gin rather than a London dry gin. And when I say new American dry gin, I'm thinking of things like Aviation, Aria. Let's see. I wouldn't say Hendrix. That might be there too, but not quite. Hendrix is a little not quite dry, I wouldn't call it. But a great flavor. I'm actually going to taste them all on its own just to make sure I remember, for posterity's sake. You know what I mean? I take my job seriously, everybody.
Yeah. Of course.
And John's right. A great lemongrass note on the back end. Good amount of citrus. Man. But now remember, it's not going to be as intense as Vivacity. Still using native botanicals in this particular gin, or local botanicals. Vivacity is that overshot, that even more, where I love all those botanicals. but I wouldn't call it dry. It doesn't have the same finish on it. So we're going to do 2 full ounces of this, John. Oh, wait, is that right? Yeah, 2 full ounces. Look at that. I broke my own rule and missed my meniscus because I got scared, so I overpoured the next one just by a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna double this up so Bree and I can each have one of our own. She wants to try the reformulation of it. As we were testing them last night, and Loriander, I don't know how everything's turning out so far, but as we were testing them last night, I realized that my charges made a great intense Szechuan peppercorn flavor, and the dryness was so much more intense using nitrous oxide to get that flavor in there that I had to reformulate and dial back from the original recipe that I developed. So let's talk about that, and we're going to go right into it. Let's do one. Oh wait, am I skipping ahead, John? I totally am. I forgot to check the list. Let's do it right. Let's do it in the right order. We're going to do the Scotch bonnet syrup next. But like I said, we're doing half as much as we used in the original cocktail, which is going to put us at a half of an ounce.
Thanks, Alex. See ya.
Alex, we'll see you next time. Thanks for coming in.
So, Billy, I got to throw a curveball at you. I've got like a 1/4 ounce of Scotch bonnet.
Oh my God, John, I didn't give you enough. Here, I thought I gave you more than enough. Good.
I was thirsty.
Well,
what can I say? Do you have a...
So here's what we're going to...
Improv?
Hell yeah, I do. You know I do. You got what you got in there, right? So do me a favor. Put whatever you have in, and let's see how much you got left.
Ooh,
and you're doubling your recipe.
Not even a 1/4 of an ounce. It's like an 1/8 of an ounce.
Not even a 1/4. Okay. Go ahead and do me a favor. Go grab your rich honey syrup that I know you already have in your fridge. Grab your orange, and you're actually going to change the amount.
Oh, you know what? I don't think I have honey syrup. Wait. No, I have Demerara syrup.
Oh, that'll work great. That's closer to brown sugar syrup also. So that'll work even better. I just didn't expect you to have that. I expect you to have the honey.
No
Perfect.
Honey today,
So
just
Dem,
Demerara.
And you're doubling, right?
Yes.
Okay. So go ahead and fill it up the rest of the way with a full ounce.
All right.
By the way, did I double?
Okay.
Okay. Take an orange peel. And we're going to do the Regal stir because we want to get that orange flavor in. So go ahead and peel off a piece of orange peel, right? And then express it and drop it into the glass, into your stirring glass. So we got the sugar levels pretty close already, right? The amount of sweetness that we needed with the extra syrup that you had. I might have overdid mine, but that's okay. Bree and I can hang with the sweetness.
Okay.
So go ahead and squeeze and drop right into your stirring, your yari.
Yes.
Nice. Okay. And what we're going to have you do is you are going to, because you're doubling, you are going to pour 1/4 of an ounce of the Szechuan peppercorn infused potato vodka. Instead, I want you to, when we get to that point, or you can do it now, we'll jump ahead for you, is I want you to make sure that you go a little bit above. We're going to go about about 1/3 of an ounce rather than 1/4.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Should make up.
Of the Szechuan peppercorn.
That's right.
Got it. Okay.
So they're both going to be at 1 point. It's what I am anticipating or hypothesizing to be closer to 1.5 of an ounce. Does that make sense? Or 1.6 of an ounce.
Yeah, okay, got it.
So
but
we'll talk about the rose infused
with the standard drink for everybody else. Yeah.
So for everybody else, we'll go with the rose infused soju. Soju, this is Jinro soju too. let's see, noted for being the #1 spirit in the world to be drank and sold. Now we're going to go 1/4 of an ounce of that. I'm going to double mine up and go for half. When I say that, I was like, how can that be? But it is hands down the most popular liquor in Korea, as well as China. Like it is a really, and it, to me, the thing I like about soju is it's 24% for Jinro in particular. And this is soju, which is a Korean version, not shochu, which is Japanese style. Then also the other subtle difference with Korean soju is there is a little bit of citric acid and sugar added into this one. So it's a little bit easier drinkability. I like that it's a great, it's a great template for infusing, John. It's not too flavored, but it's not also super intense in its alcohol content. It's not like using Everclear, where it's going to add a bite to everything.
I can't wait.
Okay, so here we are, Szechuan peppercorn infused potato vodka. Now let me tell everybody too why I do potato vodka with Szechuan peppercorns. And you know what? I'm doubling mine, so I'm going to do 1/4 because I'm doubling it. Otherwise, you're going to do 1.25 because this particular one is so intense and strong. You don't want your mouth and tongue totally numb, so much so that it's clawing and you're trying to get to water as fast as you can. We had way too many of these last night, and that's at one point that's where our tongues got, John. I was just like,
I was waiting for the college drinking reference. We had way too many Szechuan peppercorn shots last night.
Right. Messed us up.
That's what college students do, right?
Right? I think so. Tons of Szechuan peppercorn potato vodka. By the way, did you get your third? Did you get it above your line for your 1/4 ounce?
Yes.
Awesome.
I did 2/3 of an ounce total.
Before we stir this up, I got to tell everybody, specifically, especially Loriander, because I know you're going to try and follow along and make some of these on your own. Potato vodka, why I choose potato vodka above any other neutral grain spirit vodka is that potato vodka is a little bit softer, a little bit less intense. And Szechuan peppercorns are already so drying that as we were talking about, and bright, that you don't need, it's almost too astringent and too medicinal when you're adding it to Everclear or neutral grain spirit alcohols. So potatoes make a nice smooth, and technically all alcohol is gluten-free, but especially gluten-free with the potato-ness of Montepaloa or Belvedere. Yeah, I encourage you to try it both ways if you really want to test it. But trust me, I've been playing with these formulas for years, and I did the hard work for you. I've destroyed my palate for you.
Destroyed and recovered, of course. We want to
Glad you love
advice from you.
Right? Thank you, John. I have to continually recover because I like to continually destroy my palate, though. Anytime I go into a bitter shop, I'm like, well, pre-pandemic. I don't know. I haven't even... To think about my habits of like continually licking my hand in an open room publicly, I don't think I'm going to be...
Yeah, I went to a bitter shop and the shopkeeper was very nervous about her recommendations. Am I just going to go home and try all these things and want to send them back because I can't possibly taste them in the shop?
It changes. I can't imagine doing that, having that job, because it changes everything. Because before you could say like, this is what I recommend because of these reasons. Like, what do you taste out of it? Because all of us perceive things so differently anyway, right?
Yeah.
So knowing that what I perceive in there could be drastically different than what you're having, I want to... You almost need that feedback to really be confident in sending people off if you want to do a good job. So I appreciate that. Oh, total elusive. Yeah, there is no turning back. That as soon as you... So I talked to John about that very thing. I want John to try it separately um, on its own, but I told him to wait until after we try it in a cocktail first.
I'm waiting.
Oh man, I hope we're gonna figure out a way to make this charts. We're gonna figure out a way to make this outdoor tastings, and like we're gonna figure out a way to make this work. I was just reading something about new designs of restaurants and how we're gonna have to move forward. Interestingly enough, John, I read that where people want to be able to be more isolated, we're going to have to get rid of things like booths and such, because that same isolation that everybody wants to feel safe, you're also going to want to still feel communal. So lowering the lines of sight in a restaurant, so you can still see people, across 6 feet away or more. So you
Mm.
still feel communal without necessarily like putting yourself in what feels to be a more risky situation.
Mm.
I find that stuff fascinating because that's the world we're living in. It's not like nothing's going to go back to exactly the way it was,
Yeah, you're making
especially with the
me think
retrofitting.
of places that couldn't exist that way, and I like
John,
them the
my
way they are.
dream, right? My dream bar that I've wanted to open since I started doing this has always been a tiny Japanese style uh, bar. You know what I mean? With no more than like 10 seats in the whole place. Come in and have a drink or two, and then head on to the next place you're going. Uh, and I don't think that's ever going to happen again. I was thinking like a 300 to 400 square foot place, but now we're going to need so much more than that.
Yeah.
All right, so John just iced his down. I already got mine iced. I'm going to start stirring mine. And remember, I'm doubling. This is a full 30-second stir for this. John's doubled, I'm doubled. So we're going to go a little bit beyond the 30 seconds. For everybody else that are just doing singles, just 30 seconds to really release those oils, tamping down the Szechuan peppercorn bite. This. Sorry, that shit pisses me off sometimes. I think I'm gonna go ahead and invest in those new Bull and China. I guess Teresa that you worked with, John, she helped Bull and China develop some new stirrers based on how I do double stirring, which is using the heavier end of your stirring spoon. That's how I do doubles, because I can put 2 Yaris in at once. 2 drinks and 2 Yaris and spin them like this. But I really like having that extra weight more than anything else. I think I'm just going to go ahead and invest in those. She came back from Europe and realized that's how everybody in Europe was stirring stuff in Germany, and asked Bull in China if they'd start making some custom ones for her. All right, so John and I were stirring this. Remember, there's no citrus to shake up to necessarily emulsify. Everything we're using is basically either a sugar or an alcohol, which is another sugar as well. Now we're going to pour those over the ice in our cocktail, only part way. We're only going to fill those up part way. And then we're going to add some soda. John, I went a third in. We're going to add our soda water back into the Yari. Give it one quick integration, and then pour that over the rest of this cocktail. Okay? So I'm using Topo Chico. A bunch of you have that out there. Any soda water will work. Everyone knows that I like Topo Chico or any mineral water as opposed to just soda water. I like the minerality, the flavor that it actually gives. I like that it is naturally derived. So for each one of these cocktails, they're going to need 3 ounces of this soda water. So I've got 2. I got to get 6 in there. Again, 3 ounces is best to go up to your 1.5 ounce line on your big side of your jigger if you have it, and just do 2 of those. Okay. So the reason for this too, John, is I want to get one last pop in there and make sure that I'm not holding back any of my flavors in my Yari.
Okay.
Okay. Ooh.
And then pour the rest. Once mixed in the rye glass, pour the rest.
Pour the rest directly into your Collins. Ooh, right to the top. I got enough for another one. Oh yeah, I used the taller Collins glass last night. I was like, how did I get that wrong? John, you have tall enough Collins glasses. You're going to fit the whole thing. I got 2 new versions of Collins glasses, which are great. But the other ones I have, unlike yours, I have a bit heavier of a base. I'm going to put this one on there because it's dripping less. You've got that nice 1/4-inch base on yours. These ones are nice too. I just got almost a full inch base of glass. So it's going to take away roughly 2 ounces of liquid. All right, so next up, we want to finish off those bright lemony flavors that we've already talked about. But we're not going to try and complement the orange flavor that's already in there from the Scotch bonnet syrup. We are actually going to switch it up, and we are going to do a lemon for this one because we want the brightness to complement the rose. And I feel like lemon is always a better match with rose flavor. And John, we're going to try and get these sideways just like you're doing it. And I'm going to do it over my glass so I get as much spray as I can. But I'm going to try and get the longest peel that I can do. Or pretty long, right? So I got at least a 3-inch peel. I'm going to express it over the top of the glass. And the reason I want such a long peel, I'm not even going to bother trimming this, John, because it doesn't matter. We just want that flavor more than anything, and it's really pretty in its natural form. But I want to sink that down all the way down as far into the glass as I can, because I want that little bit of brightness from the pith, and I definitely want that oil to just saturate from beginning to end. And remember, you're balancing off the brightness with the soda water because there's not too much sweetness. Think about this as kind of like highball style. Just a little bit of sweetness, but all the brightness kind of makes you taste more sweet than that is actually even there. Ooh, I'm going to have a...
Does this need a straw?
This does. This would be great with a straw. I also don't mind sipping right out of the top, but with a highball glass like
straws
this,
if you got them.
Probably prettier. Straws if you got them. Smoke them if you got them. I'm gonna use either. You got acrylic. I'm gonna either use Fabrice. She's gonna get a stainless steel one, or we got our paper ones as well. Especially because it's 2021. Trying to get off that plastic.
The light through there
for you, my love.
Fantastic. It looks great.
Whoa. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. My messiness. What do you think, Bree? Improvement from last night? Ah. Okay. That's a good point.
Despite my...
I know exactly what you mean.
Running out of the Scotch bonnet syrup, I see the similarity to the last couple drinks. I like what you did with the orange peel and the impromptu syrup. Ooh. Ooh. This has some lingering heat. That's so refreshing.
Yeah, there we go.
How is it all these things?
It's kind of wild with that on your tongue, right? You get those bubbles. If you just hold the soda there on your tongue for a second.
What?
I love that slightly numbing, slightly spice. And then the rose just comes through. Kinderlift, great seeing you. Cheers.
Welcome back, Kinderlift. Oh my gosh, you just caught us in time for my mouth becoming numb.
right?
It didn't happen in the first sip, but it's happening now. That is a wild ride.
It is. This is an adventure. But I hope that you get that it's like, it's not only does it have its intense moments, and it builds on itself, it's also slightly subtle. I really, really like that it creeps up on you in its flavors. A clone that can master drinks. That's okay. We totally get it. Having two of our own over on this side of the screen, we totally understand. It is a lot of work to make that balance, Kinderliff. But you are awesome for doing it. And you know what? We are always here for one of our fantastic favorite regulars to be here for you no matter what, to help you master everything you want to know, even if you can't make it to the streams. Don't forget, we're going to do subscriptions soon, and you'll be able to you'll be able to have a direct line into having questions answered for you. So that'll be even better. You can miss anything, and you'll still have our ear.
Yeah, to catch people up, should we zoom in on those ingredients one last time? On that fancy turntable?
We got the ingredients one last time on this fancy turntable.
That turntable that Kinderlift is never getting back. Sorry, Kinderlift.
Sorry, Kinderlift. We love it too much. In fact, Kinderlift, no, we'll wait. I'm gonna hold that back. We've got Kinderlift. We are taking this turntable to the next level. Just stay tuned. See what we're doing. Follow our Instagram. Check out our YouTube. We have more pictures coming for everybody. I've really started trying to expand on some of the interesting cocktails that we can share and get everybody excited about out there. So yeah, and you'll see some of them are featuring. In fact, our Instagram tonight, you'll see a decked out version of this spinner here with our Some Like It Cold Scotch bonnet cocktail.
Yeah, I love the new decor. I love your new background. I love the new turntable work. Coming soon.
Coming soon.
That Instagram, is that promoting something? Is that just a celebration of the Scotch bonnet syrup or something coming up?
For this particular, when I was doing the cocktail with the spinning part, you mean?
Yeah. Is the turntable there for anything in particular?
Well, for the
just
one that we
it's
filmed,
a damn good photo. That's a fine
yeah.
answer.
Well, in the one we filmed today, it was and showed everybody. It was kind of fun using the turning style to apply our whipped cream over the top. I thought it was pretty and artistic.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
And flowing. It's on Instagram now. It was the one I couldn't shoot over to you just before the show started. But yeah, you'll see it. You gotta, and I think it presents itself to be able to let us do some other stuff like that as well. I think of that one non-alcoholic cocktail that we did, that you and I have talked about, that I have with the sumac on top, and that could be a really cool feature, sprinkling the sumac garnish on something spinning right here.
Oh my gosh, yes.
As everything's shaking a little bit. But yeah, those are all the ingredients. Again, nothing too wild here. We got our River Run gin, our soju. I know it's shaking. You know what I just thought of? You get one of those pads that cashiers have behind one of those mats. Because if I walked on it, then I wouldn't shake the table as much. I was just realizing I was shaking the rose soju. So John, what do you think? How it dries out? It dries out. It kind of creeps up. Makes you want to have another sip, right?
Yeah. I've never had a cocktail kind of numb me from the front of my tongue to the back of my throat. That is wild. It's very novel, very enjoyable.
Thanks. I hope it
And
goes well with food. That's kind of the idea too. Sorry, what were you gonna
and
say?
yeah, and yes, every time I'm like, I can't feel the back of my throat. Thirsty, need more.
Right? When Ryan McGarrion, a fantastic bartender that I know, used to call those drinks the triple drinkers. Anytime somebody had to, and he said again, sometimes you get there with the amount of salt that's in something, sometimes you get there with the amount of lemon, but it's not a bad thing that somebody wants to take a drink to get that back in their mouth and have that flavor again, just because you're finishing with a different profile. Knowing me, I wanted to see what other flavors I could get to do that other than lemon, than just lemon. So we've got the Szechuan peppercorn potato vodka that I like getting us there. Botanist, the head bartender, co-owner of Botanist, turned me on with one of his videos to the acid blend that they like using for some of their cocktails. So I went and got some of that from Steinbart, a place that I frequent as a
Huh.
bar manager for bottles, and that is. John, because I knew, sorry for me anticipating, but I'm guessing you were just going to ask me about what kind of acids they were, right?
Am I drinking these right now? Please tell me.
We're not drinking them yet. Actually, I used it in one of the cocktails that we'll show you that it looks like a terrarium or an aquarium cocktail that you'll see on Instagram. I use that in this particular acid in one of those, but it is a blend of citric acid, malic acid, and tartaric acid. Malic acid is used in a little bit of like wine production sometimes. The tartaric acid, I believe, is like a sherry. There are much more smarter people that know much more about that, but I'm gonna keep working on it. I'll learn more and share it with you. But for now, it's a different sensation and sort of on your tongue than citric acid is alone, which I use citric acid a lot. Um, because you can get those flavors without necessarily always having lemon juice, and sometimes you don't actually want that cloudiness or the that specific of a citrus flavor, but you need the acidity. Targ tarts, you're right. That is a tough sell. I don't think I'll make you drink an aquarium full of acid. But the best part is, actually, I was doing these experiments with my kids, John. My daughter, because we have I'm developing some new color changing, uh, some new color changing garnishes, um, and this particular
Color
acid's
changing
kind of one.
garnishes. Of course you would.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry, John.
oh,
I got to switch over.
what's going on with that background noise there? Oh, you're back.
Down before I could even
Oh,
switch.
Billy, I can't quite hear you.
I did.
Sorry, I'm laughing at Kendrick Lamar's new single. Aquarium full of acid and a dozen.
Oh, I got no.
Billy, you could just yell. We can hear you. You can
All right, perfect.
wrap this up.
Where was I? Anyway, acids. We were
Kendrick
yeah.
Lamar. No, acid. You're
Kendrick.
right. You're right. Sorry.
Kendrick. That's perfect. I was actually listening to Kendrick Lamar today, getting ready for our show.
Good hype, man.
Right? I really appreciate his conscious lyrics. You can't even hear me. I forgot. I should yell.
I think you're coming through okay. Just a little bit of background noise. It's all good.
Oh, good. Perfect. Oh, yeah. Well, I hope everybody enjoys it. As you can see, again, hope you're drinking it out of anything you have. I hope you enjoy the slight lemony citrusiness that's coming through in the flavor. Um, if the ratios are right, you shouldn't have it. It shouldn't be too numbing. That numbingness I want to kind of waft over your palate, but it should also kind of disperse after a few minutes. So every time I take a drink, I have that intense second where I'm like, I need another drink, and then 4 seconds later, I'm like, I'm okay. I'm over that. You kind of get over that hill. Um, it reminds me of some of my favorite rich spiced fully spiced, usually not Western style cuisine, and the appreciation for having that spice and then having it complement the other food that I'm eating. So I want this cocktail to have a great flavor on its own, but also you can have it with something a little more rich. To be honest, last night when I was testing these, I wanted French fries nonstop. There was something about the brightness and bright, like dry citrusiness of the Szechuan peppercorns that really complement and cut through fatty flavors. And that's, yeah,
That would
I
be a
want
great
it.
stream if some French fries got passed to you from across the table, perhaps freshly delivered.
Oh man, that would be amazing. I'd love that. Oh, good.
Oh,
I guess the microphone's working on here. I didn't realize.
Tarts,
Just not
tell
the
us
headset.
about the Mandarin House. I don't know that one. Do you know that one, Billy?
Um, no. I thought I did actually, but I'm mixing it up with the Noble House, which is no longer existing, which used to also be a Mandarin Chinese restaurant.
There is Noble Rot.
There is Noble Rot. They're still existing. Noble House actually turned into, which I still have a picture of Brie 10 years ago standing in front of their window as a Noble as well. Um, but now they are Szechuan Chef in the still existing. But yeah, Noble Rot. I wanted to go there ever since I moved here, and I still haven't made it. They have
I,
a rooftop garden that they use for their food.
yeah, I've never made it there either, but it keeps coming up just because it has your name in it.
Yeah.
All right, all right, we got some Mandarin House info here.
Ooh, the Szechuan pepper chicken. All right, Tarts, we're gonna look into it because we almost got Chinese food for delivery tonight. We actually went with Hot Yai because they have such fantastic stuff here in town.
Hot yeah, what'd you get from them?
We got what didn't we get really? As Bree just repeated. Let's see. We
Wait,
got a
why is
white.
this not? Why are you not eating it right now in front of everybody?
I don't know if it even got delivered yet. It's not here yet. Actually, we got delivery
No.
tonight.
Okay, well, everybody, hang on a little bit longer. No.
Right? We'll do. John and I were talking about doing like after hours. We'll start having Rainiers and shots of tequila, and we'll eat food with everybody here for after the show. If anybody
We've
wants to
been
stick
keeping it
around,
classy
not
up till
tonight.
now, but we need to have a true bartender after hours show you what's up.
Right? Exactly. Just how we would. That's right. Brought to you by Mandarin House. Just like John and I would once we were done with the end of our night, taking care of all of you on the other side of the bar. We'd sit down, we'd have something to eat, we'd have a beer and probably a shot and kind of wind down, decompress, and talk about our night. We thought, why not start adding in our friends with that? We all need that same sort of connection still, and maybe we keep our stuff our rails tight for the show for this part of the show and loosen up for the rest of it. We might even loosen this tie. You don't know. You don't even know. Not tonight. I know. We won't do that tonight, but in the future we'll start figuring out a way we can do that. Share some local snacks with you. Uh, John actually he could get something from a great local place closer to him, and I could get something from a great local place closer to me, and we'll start spotlighting all the fantastic food options that we have around here.
Sorry, I was just
TT
yes,
after dark.
that'd be a great little trade off there, a little after hours food battle.
Yeah, and we won't have to like there won't be like the pressure of teaching anybody to do anything. It'll just be like literally all of us talking to each other just about, oh, this tastes great. Oh, this is too spicy. I can't, oh, this is going to hurt tomorrow, you know?
Jack in the Box was okay the day of, but one day later, one day old Jack in the Box, that's the shit right there.
It changes, you know? Oh my God. I don't know what I'd do if I ever went back to full on like Jack in the Box. Not to sound like a snob, but I pulled myself and my body and my metabolism so far away from that it brings up the best story, John. I got to tell you. So,
Yeah.
of all things, fast food, what's considered like the best? So, McDonald's or Burger King style, but what's considered like, especially if you're from California, the best and like best quality burger that's similar to that?
In-N-Out
Do you think
Burger.
of one? In and Out, right? You got it. You nailed it right on the head. In and Out, right? So my kids have never eaten fast food burgers before, and one time we were coming home from a trip uh, to Southern California. They'd never had anything to go. Their tiny tacos were so good. Tacos. Um, but we had to stop. It was 6 hours later. The kids were losing their minds. Everybody was so hungry they were ready to be cannibals, right? And so we're like, okay, there's an In-N-Out burger 10 miles away. We'll make it to there. We made it. We ate it. My at the time 9-year-old son, he is now 11, was so angry with us after we ate it because we had to convince him. He was like, wait, I'm not. This is fast food. I thought we don't normally eat this. Like, I don't want to get sick. And I was like, we're like, yeah, but it's not like McDonald's where everything's like pre-made. They make everything fresh. Should be different. He got such an an upset stomach and so
Oh
sick
no.
that he never forgives us for it. Anytime anything even mentions it or resembles it, he still brings it up. Do you guys remember when you made me eat that garbage? Like,
Oh
and
no.
I know so many people that are like, In-N-Out Burger, yeah. And I don't even feel sick
What?
at it,
Yeah.
but
What
this
does that
kid is
mean that
so
I
out
crave
of
In-N-Out Burger? And he's like, "This makes me so sick."
right. He's still like slightly resentful that we like convinced him to eat it that day because we had no other fucking choice. It was that or like a Burger King 14 miles away. So we were like, all right, we'll do better on you and we'll go for the In-N-Out burger.
We do have In-N-Out as an option now in Salem, the state capital. What it would be a hour 90-minute
30
drive
minutes?
to our closest
Right.
In-N-Out now.
I think I could make it there in like 40 minutes, depending
Oh
on
shit.
traffic.
Okay. I haven't been, but
But
I
I'm
hear
pretty
the lines are
far.
crazy.
I'm a lot more.
So good luck.
The what's are
The
crazy?
lines, because it's so novel. It was, I think,
Yeah.
maybe not the first in Oregon, but certainly this is the furthest north that they've expanded In-N-Out.
It's funny too because again, In-N-Out unique
Oh,
and
what do you have
better
there?
than most. We got some goodies.
Sorry, it just showed up on my feed. I have a little bit of a delay.
This just showed up at the door. We got our short rib. We didn't get the short rib. We didn't order that one. We ordered the other one. Oh, did we? Oh yeah, this is a really spicy one. So we got the short rib curry from Hot Yai. We got a half a fried chicken from Hot Yai. We got sauteed cauliflower and eggs from Hot Yai. We got the coconut milk shrimp curry. The Godi Gong. Pickles. Here, Brie will take those. She wants those right away. I'll be lucky to get a couple of those. Sticky rice and jasmine rice. Look at that, we're loaded. Oh, and sambal.
I wish all unboxing videos were like this. That's correct, Tarts.
Right? This is way better than kids' toys. Let's do this from
Um,
now on. I'll be
now,
Evan Tube. It'll be
now, before we let you eat that, There was an important question in the chat. What cocktails go with the food we've been talking about? I guess the In-N-Out or the fast food that we've been talking about. Um, for the folks at home, they need to know.
What drinks would I be having if I were having In-N-Out?
Yeah. What's the challenge cocktail of the night? In-N-Out, go.
Ooh. Is it too shitty for me to say a cherry coke, a rum and cherry coke, or a beer?
Beer, that a little bit of a cop out.
I don't know why. I don't like a burger like that. I really would love. Like, yeah, here. This is what I would probably have. Although, John, you know what I just thought of? I have to tell you about. Yeah, Dr. Pepper, and that which is funny. You said that Margarita knows, by the way. And John, I'll finish telling you this in a second. I instantly thought of the vanilla Cokes that I used to get back in the day from soda fountains and how good that would be. That's the cherry and the vanilla mixed together, similar to that Dr. Pepper. Not quite the what the hell is it? Plum? No. Wait. What's the other flavor for Dr. Pepper has a prune. Prunes. That's what the flavor is. It's prunes.
I like this Brie commentary, by the way.
Where we're just at the Brie commentary.
Yeah.
You can finally hear it too.
Yeah. Earlier in the stream, Billy was being fed these mysterious, prompts, and Billy seemed so smooth. But now we're just like, we're getting the real deal. What the hell are you talking about, Billy?
Get your shit together, Noble. That's what I hear every time. Nobody else hears that. I'm just kidding. Billy! Oh my God, that's awesome, Margarita Knows. I love that you're a Dr. Pepper aficionado. I just lost one of my Dr. Pepper aficionado over the summer. My father-in-law. He was the one. You should have seen him trying to get my kids a drink and like Dr. Pepper. I told him they were already regular enough, but that he didn't believe me. Outside of that, John, I can't think of anything that would go better with In-N-Out Burger than possibly a boozy milkshake. To be perfectly frank, like I think I would go nuts over, and this is something you guys will see that I've been working on. I have a new glass for it, a nice vintage glass that I'm excited to share with everybody. But I have a take on a grasshopper that my wife challenged me to create based around my daughter's Girl Scout cookie sales and the Thin Mint cookie. So I have a grasshopper type cocktail that I think those flavors in a milkshake would be awesome.
Okay. I wouldn't say the In-N-Out, like the milkshake is better than other milkshakes. It's like you have to get the In-N-Out version. But I was thinking that, like, what could you? I do love a vanilla milkshake with fast food. So I like where your head's at. This grasshopper.
If you like chocolate and mint, that's where we'd head. If you don't, I do
Like this direction.
Frangelico or Di Serono. Yeah, a Girl Scout cookie show.
All right, yeah, all right. It's decided.
I could do that. I could make that happen. I already got two. It'd be that one. It'd be the Thin Mints and the Lemon Ups, the newest cookie that they just came up with last year. That's my daughter's favorite. I think it'd have to be Lemon Zip. Yeah, the Lemon Ups. Yeah, that's the one. We're getting cookies soon. In fact, pre-orders already went in. They should be showing up here in the next. Check out your local Girl Scouts. This year is even harder for them to. Obviously, everybody knows they're not going to be waiting at the grocery stores for you to accidentally go, "Oh my God, I need another 6 boxes." So you're going to have to go online and seek them out. Girl Scout Finder or Cookie Finder. Bree will put it in, but yeah, help them out. They're having a more challenging year than they've had before.
Target Charts, you're asking the barback, what's an LA water? I honestly, I don't know. I've never had one. Billy, do you know that? Do you know that drink?
No, I have no idea. And as we know, there's too many things that are named 40 different names. So
I feel it's Los Angeles's answer to the Long Island iced tea.
It must be. But it doesn't, if it's got to be milky, I feel like, if they're translucent. I'm dying, Tarts, on your, the cookie finder. Yeah, Girl Scout finder can't be real. It is got to be cookie finder. Oh, man, I'm dying inside. Well done. Leave it to me to sound like an idiot. John, are you seeing that?
If you want to tip your bartender, we got our PayPal, we got our Venmo, or our Girl Scout QR codes. Please find those in the About section below.
Perfect. And not a Girl Scout finder. If you're on that website, get out quickly and erase your hard drive. You are in a bad place. No.
Girl Scout cookies, I said. Cookies.
Yes, cookie finder.
God, Billy.
No, it was about me. I was making fun of myself for saying it wrong earlier. Leave it to me to be the dad of a Girl Scout that constantly says the wrong shit when I'm supposed to be like, yeah. But I remember I was at a booth helping her sell, and somebody was like, these are my favorite fucking cookies. And I was like, they are fucking delicious. And I was like, oh, wait, I'm surrounded by 5-year-olds. I need to get your dad mode on. Dropping F-bombs all over the place.
All right, we got the correct link in the chat now.
Perfect. We'll throw up, now that everybody has that, we'll throw up our Venmo and our new PayPal. You can also see those on our website, and John's got them hooked up. A link for him here in Twitch. We love getting to talk to everybody. Thank you for coming out and being with us again this week. We'll start bringing you more content. We're really excited to start our revamping and trying to reprioritize. And so watch our YouTube and watch our Instagram for those things. If you have any friends that are out there with Amazon Prime as well, let them know to start following us on Twitch. Why not? It's Amazon Prime that already takes care of it for you. It gives you a new friend to pick every month. In the meantime, we're gonna eat some hot yai.
Yes. Let's eat.
Let's eat. Yeah,
And,
cookies are better, Lucif.
Mm.
All right, everybody. Thank you for coming out. We love you so much. We'll see you soon, okay? John?